What's good? We back. You know, spur of the moment live video. Was taking a shower. Was like, you know what? I should do a live video. And sometimes you definitely got to dig real deep for a topic. It's better to pass on the video when, you know, pretty much this topic came just off the top of the dome. I got a few more videos lined up I did earlier. I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued by some of them. But y'all know what it is. It's the Boston Clinic and more. It's your boy CJ Goodfella, and man. Tell it's crazy out here. Everybody got their taxes and it's just been going crazy all day. You know, everywhere's filled up. But talk about Badou Jack taking on Adonis Stevenson. And I do more about Lipinus and Mikey Garcia at another point. You know, probably next week I'll get into that a little bit more after the Wilder thing. I know Stevenson and Jack is ways out. And Stevenson expects to knock out Jack. But, you know, I think it'd be a competitive fight. I think Jack is the best fighter that Adonis Stevenson fought, you know, maybe since Chad Dawson. You know, he didn't fight Pascal, even though that would have meant a lot of money in Canada. You know, obviously he didn't get a chance. You know, Bernard Hopkins didn't want to fight him. He rather had went for Kovalev. You know, he didn't fight Kovalev. I mean, you look at, you know, his track record, he missed out on a lot. I mean, fighting guys like Thomas Williams Jr., you know, who wasn't that proven, and beating up on guys like Fonfora twice, and you know, his career hasn't panned out, and I think he's a winner in his mind and overall in general, because after he got out of jail, he didn't have much of an amateur career with Emmanuel Stewart. He turned pro at 29, and you know, pretty much he had an 11-year run now. And you know, what guy that started boxing or turning pro at 29 has had this level of success, you know, on the elite level? Not too many people. I'm not saying that he's fighting elite competition, but I mean, you know, honestly, do he think he ever would have made it to this level in Adonis Stevenson, starting boxing at 29, you know, and making it this long, especially without Emmanuel Stewart? I mean, if you gave him some truth serum, I think he said no. I don't think I would have made it this far, especially after getting knocked out by Darnell Boone, coming back to avenge that loss. You know, then moving up, knocking out Chad Dawson. Life moved fast for him. It really did. And Badou Jack is another success story. You know, most people thought it was over for him when he got knocked out by Derek Edwards. Some other people thought, you know, it was over for him and Jalen Love. He thought he was another Jalen Love because him and Love got knocked out around the same time, or not too far apart. And Love got knocked out by Porky Medina. And people pretty much thought that he was. I think it was after that Porky Medina fight that Porky Medina knocked out Jalen Love, that Badou Jack got knocked out. People thought he was going to, you know, be in the same situation that Jalen was in. And Jalen still hasn't bounced back from that situation. Supposed to be rumored to fight Peter Quillen, I don't know. So don't ask, but yeah. You know, but Badou Jack built himself back up. You know, he proved that Derek Edwards hit him with the perfect shot and at the perfect spot, and he proved to pick himself back up, beating George Groves. You know, Lucian Bute, I think that was no contest because Bute got popped with something. You know, most people think he dominated James DeGale. I thought he won that fight as well. James DeGale is one of my favorite fighters. And, you know, dominated Nathan Cleverly. Then his stock kind of plummeted when he ducked Demetrius Bivol in some people's mind. But how do you duck a guy like Bivol and drop that belt? Okay? But you move up. You see, you move up and fight the #1 guy in the division by the bylaws. He's actually the lineal champion. Obviously, we know the Ring magazine. What's going on, Monty? You know, Badou will win, but Stevenson will test him. Yeah, possibly. But you know, you move up to you know, he moves up in caliber of fighters. You know, you dug Bivol, okay, but he's going for the #1 guy, in Adonis Stevenson. So, I mean, it was a smart play, smart move by him. I mean, he waited, he played his chips, and he got the Stevenson fight, and they stayed, you know, and out there Alvarez got backhanded like a $2 low ho. You know, it was supposed to his shot. He's been the he's been the mandatory for like several years for Adonis Stevenson, and it was funny when the WBC was like, well, we're gonna do an investigation and see why Adonis Stevenson hasn't fought a mandatory in like 4 years, or 3 or 4 years. I'm like, what you mean? You guys are been sanctioning these fights. Are you gonna investigate your own office for corruption? So that's where it pretty much stands at right now. If you're talking about, you know, what Stevenson needs to do, I mean, obviously, it's going to start with the left hand. And he's going to try to put that heat on Badou Jack early. But if you're talking about physically, being physically dominant as a light heavyweight, I still don't see Stevenson as a physically imposing light heavyweight. His left hand carries physically imposing implications on it. Bad intentions. And that right hand, that right jab, that flickering jab that he got, it must hold his opponents in the right position long enough to get hit by the left hand. And not only does he just shoot the left hand, he varies it up and down. He shoots it at different trajectories. That's what he does. He don't hook it much, but he can uppercut up close. He's a solid fighter, and he got solid leg work as well. I was watching him train in the gym. It was an old Facebook memory. And he got some little footwork. He ain't no fast, twitchy athlete, but he's pretty good. And people look at him and say he's 40, about 39, 40. I think he'll be 40 this year. And say, where would he drop off at? And that has to be attributed to him being late in boxing, late starting boxing, turning pro at 29. So he probably got some more tread on them tires. So then you would look at it and say, okay, what about just natural age catching up with him? What type of lifestyle does he live out the ring? Does he drink? Does he smoke? And you'll be surprised at how many fighters actually drink alcohol. People talk about Broner. Figueroa got popped. Jamal Charlo was on Instagram drinking liquor. Keith Thurman said when he met his wife, he was drunk over in Nepal. So you'd be surprised, how many people actually drink liquor and how these athletes don't live that clean lifestyle. You look at an athlete like Ray Allen who hadn't had a cheeseburger since he was a teenager. Didn't put anything bad in his body. He lasted. And what people don't understand, when you're an athlete, you drinking, there's been rumors about Pernell and then Roger and some of them doing those controlled substances back in the day. At the end of the day, that takes away from you. Every time you consume some alcohol, it takes something away from you. Every time you consume something that your body is not supposed to have, it takes something away from you. And then one day, it just all, consumes you at once. And that's what Floyd said. He never drunk, never drink. And he takes care of his temple. You last. You really do last. And you'd be surprised how many of these athletes do this and do that. And, remember in the Mayweather boxing gym, they had the thing with Luis Arias and some of the fighters Jalen Love smoking weed, and they got popped. And Floyd suspended them and all of this. And, yeah, so not only these dudes living the rock star lifestyle inside and outside the ring, but basically what Stevenson had to do is, just beat him. At this point, it's too late to change it up. And I think, he believes that his left hand is just going to engulf Badou Jack. But some of the things his lower level opponents couldn't do was avoid the left hand. And Fonfora, the second time under the tutelage of Virgil Hunter, this dude walked right into the left hand. He didn't even think to go to Adonis Stevenson's right hand. He walked right into the left hand and got clipped real quick, faster than before. And I can't imagine that was part of their game plan, was for him to walk into Stevenson's left hand and then try to take it away. And he had some height advantage on him. It was a terrible game plan. It was a streak of bad luck or bad losses for Virgil Hunter at that point. But yeah, for Stevenson, when he gets inside, he's kind of clever as well. He can loop that uppercut. He got okay hand speed. I mean, just the left hand. And Badou Jack is something that he hasn't seen in a while. I don't think he's ever seen somebody like Badou Jack. Badou Jack is not a real full-fledged light heavyweight from what I see him Cleverly. He looks small versus Cleverly, but Badou Jack has an understanding of what he wants to do in the ring. He's pretty much got an IQ knowing he needs to look out for the left hand. He knows if he's take away the left hand and he's able to get on the inside with Stevenson and work the body and work up to the chin, he can knock Stevenson out. Stevenson's chin isn't all of that. We seen the infamous Darnell Boone knock him out. And, it happens, but it's there. The mark is there. You can't erase it. And for Jack, it's going to be, taking away the left hand. And it's not like you have to worry about the left hook or something else. I mean, it's like a dog. I can compare him to a dog. Remember my uncle told me, he said, why are you scared of dogs when I was younger? I said, because they can bite. And he was like, yeah, you know what? That's one vicious weapon they do got. That's a vicious weapon to try to stop. And that's a vicious weapon to try to stop for Adonis Stevenson. It's that vicious left hand. And all it takes is one. And even though sometimes he pounds you like some meat sometimes, he got to pound you a few times with it sometimes. But you think about it. It's not like a lights out type of a punch. It can be. After you wear somebody out so long hitting with him, then that one kind of breaks the puzzle, breaks the glass. I think Stevenson can get inside of that. He don't have to do crazy head movement. It's basically about where his feet is and where his position is and where he shoots his jab and I'm pretty sure if you watch this tape, it's certain positions and there's certain parts of the fight that Stevenson likes to drop that left hand in. I haven't watched the tape yet completely. I'm really film studying Adonis Stevenson, but just watching him off the top of the dome, it's certain situations that he likes to throw the left hand. It might be certain postures that he stand in. They like to throw the left hand. So it's something that Badou Jack and his coach have to look at and do as well. You know, it's gonna be okay. You got the better jab. So what do we do if Stevenson has the better jab? I mean, Jack has the better jab. Obviously, Badou Jack is a good body puncher. Obviously, Badou Jack is a smart fighter. So they have things to work with. It's not like this dude is a Thomas Williams Jr. where he's blown out the water. You know, like this is just not a competition. He cut from elite cloth. And boxing number 24/7, Stevenson will KO Jack. Possibly. And, you know, most people kind of feel, though, boxing 24/7, most people feel that Stevenson going to win, you know, in their heart. But everybody is hoping and holding hands that Badou Jack wins this fight. And if Badou is able to get past that left hand and take it away, like a lot of elite and great fighters are able to take away, you know, one-handed fighter. And remember, Stevenson hasn't been in there with the elite of the elite. Chad Dawson was a defeated man when Adonis Stevenson stepped in there with him. You know, he said he'd go down to 68 for Andre Ward. You know, HBO kind of forced him down to his word. Then he came back up and, you know, he wasn't the same guy. Stevenson, you know, knocked him out with the first 1-2 he threw. And Jack will know. You know, Stevenson, we remember for the first fight, he tired out. He's not used to going the distance. So I think Jack is going to be cautious early. He's going to work Stevenson's body. And if he's able to deflate the tires out of Stevenson, which I anticipate he will with some body work, because I think he needs to be right in that inside. You know, you need to be on the outside and inside. This is not a pocket fight from him. And moving towards Adonis Stevenson's right hand and shooting his right hand down the pipe as well. And working the body. I think if he works the body enough in there, and then when he's ready to get on that inside, he's able to take his lead foot and put it outside the southpaw's right foot and shoot that right down the pipe. I think a straight right hand KOs Adonis Stevenson by accumulation with the body shots, in my opinion. No ways he's knocking out Badou. I know Adonis Stevenson got power, but Jack only got knocked out. Got knocked out. I'm sorry, I can't see. Knocked out for that left hand. Look out for that left hand. Adonis cannot outbox Badou Jack. What's going on? Oh, no hat today. Man, if you see my hat closet, it's crazy. I remember the 2-week period, I bought 20 of them. I got in trouble from my girlfriend, so I'm trying to, you know, stay off them. But yeah, Moni right. Like, Stevenson can't outbox Jack, but he got the ultimate equalizer. And when you're able to hold people in position, and your left hand, you got real power like that, that's on the back of somebody's head. So Jack can be giving off all the greatest, confidence you've seen from a fighter, but in the back of his mind, he know that left hand is dangerous. So it may kind of change how Badou Jack, especially when he get touched with it for the first time, it may change how Badou Jack tries to attack Adonis Stevenson. He might come in with a game plan like I said. You know what? I got a better jab. I'm gonna step away from the right hand. I'm gonna step away from the straight left. Shoot my right down the middle. When I'm able to get my right down the middle, I want to be in a position to fire off my combinations to the body, tie up, get out of there, get out of distance, do it again, or sit there and work them on the inside. Which is Adonis Stevenson is not the biggest slouch on the inside, because I said he looked pretty good versus subpar competition. Maybe, kind of shooting them uppercuts and working his combinations on the inside. He ain't gonna be, in there with Jack holding and grappling and stuff of that nature. But he could be the better boxer. But once he gets touched with that left hand, you got to think about it. Is he gonna make an agreement with himself and be like, you know what, I don't want that no more. I'm good on that. And that might change your thought. See, I think there's a few boxers that might have been there and been better pure boxers from a pedigree standpoint than Adonis Stevenson. But when you got that ultimate get out of jail free card, that trump card, and that left hand, and it's just a left hand where it's like, bro, it's just, he might shoot it up, he might shoot it down, he might shoot it to the body, solar plex, head, or right out. He just varies it, his trajectory on it a little bit, but it's definitely, a guy can be outbox you the whole fight and get clipped and forget about it, and it's over with. So when it comes down to fighting a power puncher, I feel more confident if Badou Jack gets to the 7th 8th, 9th round, and even if he's behind 2 or 3 points, I'm pretty sure if I put my money on Jack, I'm pretty confident late in that fight, he's gonna deliver, because the body work. If he's able to put in a little bit of body work from that point, you know, and get some straight right hands in. Stevenson, we seen the verse 5-4. He not used to going the distance. He really not used to going the distance, you know. And he got slept, you know. I mean, he got sleep. He did get dropped in that front 4 fight. So, like I said, he was tired, you know. And if Stevenson ain't got to set a crazy pace, you know. But if he punches to the body just enough, this is a guy that don't take body punches like that. You know, a lot of people don't go to Stevenson body because they can't. A lot of them guys ain't got the versatility that Jack got. They, like Moni said, they can't box like Jack can box, and nobody's in the division got that inside body work that Jack got. Yeah, I mean Derek Edwards hit him with the perfect shot. You would think Anthony Darrell was able to hit him with that shot. George Groves would be able to hit him with that shot. DeGale, Butte. I mean, that just shows that he didn't show that he was hurt and wobbled in most of those. I don't remember him being significantly hurt or wobbled, even dropped any of those fights. But it just showed that Derek Edwards just hit him with the perfect shot. And I remember somebody was talking like, can journeymen really punch better or punch harder than elite fighters? And that's real, yeah. There's some journeymen, you know, that hit harder, you know. But just because you got power, it don't mean you got the missile to get the bomb to the target. So, it's gonna be a nice fight. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody's talking about Triple G Canelo, so I try to switch it up. I try to, you know, get in my own lane. I thought Jack and Stevenson, you know, who's gonna be on a double venue feature with whoever Keith Thurman picks, will most likely maybe Devin Alexander, if Victor Ortiz isn't healed up by that time, which is a nice card. And you know, if Trump wasn't the president, I think that'd be a nice trip to the Bell Center in Montreal, because Canada is nice. I've been in Toronto, been through there. It's nice. You know, it's definitely a nice city. It's going to be a big fight. I think that's a big fight for Fight Fairs. You know, May 19th, it's springtime. I know it's a lot to do in the United States, but, I mean, everybody's tired of Jack. I mean, even Kovalev is going to be eating popcorn and drinking some vodka, you know, and watching that fight, hoping that Badou Jack beats him, and get into some boxing politics. All right, let's get into a question. Stevenson getting old and Jack going on the inside. As long as he stays there, he will take some of that power. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as long as he get away from left hand, stays on the inside, and then when he's not on the inside, he got to stay out of range. You know what I'm saying? He don't need to be in the pocket. But if he does that, like he said, if he stays on the inside, and then when he's not on the inside, stay out of range, I'm just saying, enough body punches. I say if he lands about 6 okay body punches per round, Stevenson is going to he's going to drag to the end of the fight. And Jack may get just a stamina stoppage. Because we seeing this dude, you know, wobbling all over the ring. He hasn't went rounds for real. Not tough rounds. And if it gets into a dog fight, and I see that Stevenson is avoiding that left hand, or Stevenson is taking it nicely, either or, you know, I'm telling you, I feel good going to the 7th, 8th, 9th round. If Stevenson is there, I mean, he's going to take them tires out of, if Jack is there, and he's going to take the tires out of Stevenson and KO him. But the boxing implications outside of this is the fact that Jack is open to facing Kovalev. And we know Kovalev is probably going to fight the Barrera or Bivol runner. Let me talk about that for a minute. Don't be surprised. Remember I said this. You come back to this video. Don't be surprised if Barrera gets robbed versus Demetrius Bivol. Demetrius Bivol and Sullivan Barrera fights next Saturday at Madison Square Garden. Obviously, we all know that Deontay Wilder fights Luis Ortiz in the Brooklyn Barclays Center. But what's significant about the Sullivan Barrera character is that he's a free agent. We know that he passed up the Kovalev fight in November. Said he paid his dues facing his tough fights. Then, you know, Andre Ward out of the sky retires. And then, you know, Shavansky and Kovalev gets, you know, made for a vacant belt. Then they come around this year. They say, okay, Sullivan Barrera, do you want the Kovalev fight? You know, Kathy Duva come out and say, oh, you know, he didn't want the fight. You know what this? Barrera comes out and say, well, they offered me less money than November, and they offered me to sign my life away to main events. I wasn't going to do that. You know, I just took the Bivol fight. He's on his last fight as deal. You know, he can possibly go wherever he wants. Maybe Top Rank, Al Heyman, maybe Eddie. Who the fuck knows? So, I mean, he's a free agent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Barrera's already down 2 or 3 rounds. And I'm just trying to tell y'all right now, boxing politics, the algorithm of boxing politics tells you that it's not looking good for him, and he must train for a knockout. I'm gonna say that right now. He must train for a knockout. Bivol is HBO's new golden boy. He's basically their golden boy on the rise. I say that because they actually showed his mismatch of a title fight with Trenton Broderhurst. And we know Badou Jack dropped a regular WBA champion. He was ordered to fight Bivol for the Super WBA champion. He chose to take the #1 light heavyweight out there in Adonis Stevenson. And, he got an opportunity, because if you don't take your opportunity versus Stevenson, that Greyhound gone, baby. It's gone. So he took the opportunity. He bet and gambled with Leonard Ellerbe, making that fight happen. Al Haymon, they made it happen for him. I don't care. But it shows you that HBO took a time slot. That was like 2, 3 Eastern Standard Time for Trenton Broderhurst and Demetrius Bivol for the regular WBA championship. And Trenton Broderhurst was the 11th ranked guy. So that really should have been Sullivan Barrera versus Demetrius Bivol back in, I think it was November. So, I mean, HBO wouldn't even get Andre Ward, Paul Smith on HBO, But they gave Demetrius Bivol, Trenton Broderhurst, who was 11th in the WBA rankings or something like that. And they skipped over, several other contenders. So that just lets you know this dude is the major A. He's the uppercase A side in this situation. And Barrera's going to have to just climb his way on up, man, and just grind. We seen him upset Shavansky. People would call him a bum versus Andre Ward, but he had learned a lot. And he proved to be the truth. And then, again, this dude has been down in the first round several times. So it's something that he needs to look at, that what he's doing, it's not even nothing in the gym, in my opinion. Maybe it is how he's working out, but he needs to look about how he's warming up, Maybe he needs to get a treadmill in his room and just kind of, do a light jog and get a nice sweat going. And maybe go around on a few more rounds on the pad right before the fight. I would kind of lose that energy right there. I know it sounds stupid. Long as I'm warmed up, because he's coming out those first rounds cold and he's getting caught. And it's not the fact that he's off balance. It's the fact that he ain't warmed up right. He ain't really sweating. And when you don't see a fighter that's sweating, coming into the ring, especially by the middle of the fight, which is not saying that's his issue, but by the middle of the fight, if he ain't sweating, he dehydrated. And if you ain't getting no sweat, that means you ain't got no water in you. So, that's something that he got to change. So we got off topic there, but it got big implications, because Badou Jack called out Kovalev, called him a racist already. We talked about that a long time ago. And if Bivol, it'll be Bivol. I think they're gonna give it to Bivol. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it right now. But if it's Bivol and Kovalev, they wouldn't have fight. And then I think they want to do Kovalev and Beterbiev, but Beterbiev and Badou Jack can happen because Al Haymon both advises them. Then you might have a unified champion, perhaps, but if it's Bivol or it's Jack, if it's not, it can't be Jack, because Andre and Al Haymon and JC don't mix. But if it happens to be Bivol or Kovalev, I can see Ward coming back out into retirement. He's teasing people on the scale, saying he's 199 pounds. He's looking to be fighting Tony Bellew, and that's a big fight over there for Andre. Excuse me, but that's the story for another day. We're talking about this middleweight shit real quick. Who's the best of the rest of the middleweights? I mean, who y'all think is better? The best of the rest is, other than Triple G and Canelo Alvarez, who do you guys rate as the next best middleweight? Let me know in the comment section. But for me, man, it's tough. I definitely thought it was a point in time where Daniel Jacobs was, I didn't believe in him. Going into the Peter Quillin fight, I know I can't be the only one. I thought that Quillin was gonna, knock him out. But what we all forgot with Quillin was Charlo. There we go. What we all forgot with Quillin was the fact that this dude that gave up his belt. He had a tough fight with Rosado. He had a tough fight. That was a fishy stoppage with Gabriel Rosado. He had a tough fight with Andy Lee. We had a draw, and he was just on the down slope. And he's another guy who's invested his money very, very well with renting houses and doing right. He went from a guy sleeping on beds outside to being a guy with little or no amateur background. So, I mean, Al Haymon is definitely blessing these guys with some financial advice and how to invest that money. And I'm gonna say this: I think Al Haymon and Yo Gotti got some hell of investors, man. I'm gonna say that right now. They got some hell of some investment ways. I would love to sit down. Them two men, I would love to sit down in the room and talk with. You know, because look how Yo Gotti, off topic, got Black Youngster around here. You got one for Andrade. Look how Black Youngster around here, you know, getting money. It ain't a facade. I heard him. I kind of, in my spare time, I listen to wealthy and successful people. No matter how ignorant you may think they are, like a Black Youngster, he got more sense than you guys think. You know, ignorant. You know, broke ignorant people that come up rich ain't as ignorant as you think they are. You know, it's a show, but love to sit there and talk. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he trash. I like some of his music. I ain't gonna lie. I like his song on Yo Gotti White Friday. I think that's the most underrated rap album in the last 2 years. But at the end of the day, I heard him talk, say, y'all got money coming from here, and he got more sense than you think. And when you invest your money the right way, and it's game out there for free. You know, not only in property or you know, CDs and stuff of that nature, you know. It's money, it's investments, you know, quick flips, but, you know, the best kept secrets is it's with the rich people for now until you rub shoulders with them. But yeah, you know, he's feeding these guys and they eating. But you look at Danny Jacobs, you know, he scored that big knockout over Quillen. And you can something from a baby if you're willing to listen. Yeah, you're right. The truth that you get from a baby. Absolute truth. But yeah, you look at Quillen. And he got knocked out. And, you know, he was. I just don't remember. I don't remember in my head. Yup. It take time. It's patience. I don't think we really at the time. Most people think like, oh, Quillen can punch. Danny Jacobs got a weak chin. Remember that? I think that's what a lot of people was thinking. Wasn't thinking that, you know, Peter Quillen had been out the loop for a while, and I don't think he ever was. I don't think he was invested in boxing no more. I remember he was hungry, calling out Sergio Mora and all that stuff. He's now super middleweight, by the way. Supposed to be rumored to fight Jellion Love. But he wasn't hungry at the time, but we just thought that he had the thunder in his hands. And the way it played out with them throwing thunder, we knew Danny had thunder, but people thought that Peter Quillen was the one that had a better chin than Danny because of Danny history and being down by, I think it was down by Mora by the end. I think he was down, yeah, he got dropped by Moore, he got killed by Pirog, and people just, you know, put him down for a weak chin. And he went head-to-head with Peter and knocked him out. And Triple G thought it was sweet. I got a video coming up about that. Triple G thought Danny was sweet, and that's the reason why he actually fought Danny. He had no obligations to fight Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs was the regular. I thought Peter would win. Oh, yeah. Also, you know, yeah, I thought Peter was the best of the rest at one point, you know, but the Rosado fight was enough. I seen enough. But you look at you look at Jacobs, and you know, Golovkin thought it was sweet. He thought, man, at the end of the day, he probably sat down and was like, you know what, you know, I've been match made pretty good. We've been match made perfectly. We know my step up fight was Kell Brook. That was his biggest fight of his career. And the only guy I seen give Golovkin a tougher fight from Kell Brook was Kassim Uma. And Martin Murray had a good fight. Kassim Uma, you go back and watch that fight. Golovkin wasn't Golovkin yet, but Kassim Uma was working him. He just couldn't eat those shots. You know, Kassim Uma was a naturally smarter fighter. But it's a good fight to go back and watch. It's Kassim Uma and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But Kassim Uma and Golovkin, go back and watch. You see the evolution of Gennady Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? I'll get to your question in 1 minute, but you like, okay, if I'm down 10 rounds to nothing, I said in my video I'm gonna drop later. If I'm down 10 rounds to nothing, I can always knock out Danny Jacobs. You know, his jaw, he don't have a jaw. He can knock it out. And Jacobs did come in heavy, and he ate his shots. And ever since then, Jacobs has been, you know, he's been on fire. And it's not that the Luis Arias fight, I'm holding that. I picked Arias to win because I thought Arias, you know, really was going to do it, but he didn't. But the confidence that Jacobs fought versus Arias, you got to put Jacobs up there. I like Charlo. A lot of people say, oh, you Charlo. I'm not a Charlo fan. It's just the simple fact that Golovkin fought every mandatory with the quicker than quick, you know. And when it comes to Jamal Charlo, somebody that's different that he hasn't fought, or he fought similar to Danny Jacobs, but the difference between Danny Jacobs and Jamal Charlo is this. Danny Jacobs know fire is hot. Jamal Charlo has no senses that fire is hot right now. And that's what makes the Golovkin fight dangerous, but fun. He believes his own shit don't stink. He's supposed to. He's undefeated. And he beat some fighters at 154. Say what you say, Julian J. Rock Williams I mean, everybody always does this shit. You know, say, oh, you know, this guy's good before the fight. Oh, you know, and J-Rock was. J-Rock had he had one of the better upbringings to a world championship fight, in my opinion. You know, he took the hard route. He paid his dues. He didn't cut no corners on his way to the top. Fought undefeated prospects. Fought Hugo. I mean, he did his thing on his way to the top, okay? He deserved his title shot, for sure. But he got knocked out, and everybody want to categorize him as a nobody. Can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you support him before the fight, you know, you got to stick with him. Everybody have a bad night. But the difference with Golovkin and with Charlo would be is that Charlo is a little bit taller than Danny. I think he's about 6'2 and a half, 6'2. Hugo's about 6'2 and a half, 6'3. So I think it's a different inch, about a half inch between them difference. But he's not going to be passive like Danny Jacobs. There is no retreating in Jamal Charlo unless you really, really hurt him. And I don't even think he would be educated enough in the ring and experienced enough, let me say that, to hold. But maybe they practice at the Plex Gym. But Charlo's going to come at him. And they're going to exchange. He's going to control distance. He want to box. He's going to drop bombs on Golovkin. And Golovkin is not going to walk through Charlo's punches like he did Canelo. I think, obviously, Canelo started off like at 140. You know, he was a teenager, but I think naturally Charlo is a bigger guy. Stronger guy, just naturally. So, it'd have been a different fight because it's pretty much the unknown with Jamal Charlo. You know, Golovkin could be down to Jamal Charlo, and Charlo might have a glass chin that we don't know about, or can't take a body punch, or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So, it was just the unknown. At least when you fought Danny Jacobs, you knew that he was knocked out before, and at the end of the day, if I'm down 11 rounds to nothing with 30 seconds left, I got a puncher's chance versus that man. So, you know, that's that. I mean, I like him. Billy Joe Saunders is slicker than fish oil. You know, he's slicker than fish oil. I like the guy. I mean, I always supported Billy Joe Saunders. I knew he can do it. I've seen him do it before. His Olympic pedigree, that's to be said for some. His boxing pedigree, his gypsy lifestyle, bare knuckle fighting. He could take a punch. People, you know, think he was ducking Golovkin. I honestly think he was just going through stuff in life. You know, going between trainers. He didn't care about boxing no more. He was fat and sloppy. That last fight he fought December 15th or 16th, in the 5th, 2015 or 16. He looked like sloppy shit. But, you know, when people say David Lemieux, I say, hey, at the end of the day, if he can't beat David Lemieux, you know, I don't know. And I knew that he could beat David Lemieux, was going to whoop him like he did. I told people. He did. So I categorize, I break them down in tiers, you know what I'm saying? I think tier 1 is Saunders in no specific order. Saunders, Jacobs, Charlo. That's the tier 1 other than Triple G and Canelo. We said best of the ref. That's the tier 1. You go to tier 2, you got an unknown guy in there. You got Shevchenko. You got Andrade. He's an unknown wild card because it seems like he don't want to compete. Excuse me. I'm about to just dry. He don't want to compete. You know, we could talk about him for a minute. You know, Demetrius Andrade just... I mean, when I heard him say, I'm not ready for Billy Joe Saunders. You know, I'd rather fight Gary Spike O'Sullivan or David Lemieux. I still want to fight David Lemieux. I said, man... You know, but you got to remember, man, when he came out the Olympics, man, he was on Friday Night Fights longer than anybody, you know, any prospect that we can remember. You know, I'm answering the questions towards the end. I'm almost about to wrap it up. We can remember that. He was on Friday Night Fights. You know, he was beating the crap out of subpar competition. And the question was, when he going to step up, And we thought when he stepped up versus Vanez and got the WBO belt, it was going to be smooth sailing. I tell people all the time, Demetrius Andrade was supposed to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. That was the prophecy he was supposed to fulfill. And not only were he supposed to be above Terrence Crawford, and definitely it would be no argument between nobody else's, he had the opponents in front of him. I mean, if he goes out there and he faces Jamil, he beats Vanez like he did. He faces Jamil Charlo, which it was a good possibility he could have beat him at the time. He beats Jamil Charlo. He get noticed. He follows that up with maybe an Austin Trout type of fight. He gets a Cotto type of fight or something like that, you know, or Canelo type of fight after that, because he kind of creating that traction. Or if he goes for Lara, and I think if he gets Lara before Canelo, I think Canelo is going to, he has to shoot him a fair one. He's in the position Lara is supposed to be in, and if he capitalized on beating Canelo like his pedigree says he could, I mean, dude, I mean he's riding shotgun. He's in the cockpit. I mean, he gets a Golovkin fight, you know what I'm saying? You know, and maybe another big Canelo fight at middleweight around this time. But at the end of the day, you know, he didn't take the chance, you know, and he hurt himself. And he had that type of talent. I was huge on Demetrius Andrade, you know. And this guy's right. You know, Quan said he don't have no killer. No killer in him, you know. And there's no go in him. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Chad Dawson. All the talent in the world, cleaned out the 175 division, you know, but he never had the go. When he was with Floyd Sr. kind of lit his fire on him. A lot of people don't remember Chad Dawson had Floyd Sr. in his corner. And Floyd, when he retired, he dubbed Chad Dawson the best fighter in the world. That's when his dad was training him. And Chad was, but Chad's downfall was he didn't have the drive. And Andrade doesn't have the drive and the killer instinct as well. He's the junior middleweight version of Chad Dawson. And mentally, they was held back. You know, physically, they had every tool in the book. You say power, speed, boxing ability, IQ, defense, feet, hands, you know, whatever. They had it all. You know, but, you know, mentally, it just, you know, wouldn't go together. You got Shevchenko, who's kind of in that second tier. You know, haven't seen a lot of them fight, but anybody that can beat down Tyrion Johnson, you know, I'm pretty sure you're good. You're good as well. I mean, Martin Murray, I don't think he's gonna still compete at 160 after this fight with Billy Joe Saunders. I think he will retire. He said he might retire if he loses, which he may. Him and Billy Joe Saunders are good friends. You know, anybody else in the second tier that I'm missing? I don't think so. I don't think I'm missing anybody in that second tier. I mean, I can't look up the ratings right now on my computer, but maybe I'm missing a guy too. But you go to the third tier, you got Luis Arias, Robert Brandt, Hugo Centennial Jr. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Some few other guys that's on the come up there. But you go to that third tier, you got those guys. You know, they ain't working out. You got Torian Johnson that's still there. You know, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to get to the questions in 1 minute. I'm about to wrap it up. So we'll see. So if you had to force me to say who's the best, you know, I think it's still unproven. I can't put Charlo above everybody else. We see what he do versus Hugo. I think Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, Charlo is tier 1. The best of the rest. I think they all in the same boat. Tier 2 is Andrade, Shevchenko, you know, them guys. And then tier 3, in my opinion, would be, you know, Arias, Robert Brandt coming back down, and the rest of everybody else. And then, you know, obviously Canelo Triple G sits on top of the throne. This is an interesting division, deep. You know, HBO don't have too many intentions on making them fight. They just basically sign all these guys to keep them away from Showtime. Because you remember, Andrade was on Showtime. Jacobs was a Premier Boxing Champion guy. I mean, they ain't doing shit but making Jamal Charlo mad. But we'll see. I would just love Billy Joe Saunders and to step out his scope of support and fight Jamal Charlo if he beats Hugo Centennial Jr. Now, if Hugo Centennial Jr. beats, let's talk about hypothetical before I get to these questions. If Hugo Centennial Jr. He beats Jamal Charlo, and this scenario happens, Canelo beats Triple G, that belt goes to Hugo Centennial Jr. I hope y'all know that, because Canelo is not electing to fight for the WBC title. And also, they're not doing a world tour for Canelo Triple G too. I think they just have a press conference in LA, and they might go to New York and have a press conference at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas once again. And Golovkin get fucked in negotiations again. He need to reevaluate his team. But yeah, you know, that's that. You know, I'm looking forward to Canelo Triple G too. A lot of people got a lot of faith in Canelo Alvarez. I might have some faith in the draw. If those odds are good enough in the draw, why the fuck not? You know, 100 might get you 10,000. There's no way that people say, oh, it's not gonna end in a draw again. Shit, I wouldn't put shit past them. They already talking about a rubber match. You know, but you know, middleweight is interesting for sure. And I'm gonna say this: I don't see Triple G going to super middleweight no more. Now that Eubanks Jr. is knocked off, he was the biggest moneymaker for him. I mean, too many big guys up there for him. I'm not talking about 6'1". I mean, you got guys at 6'3". Ramirez is 6'3". Jesse Hart is just under 6'3". David Benavidez, even though he's 20, he's sparred with Golovkin a lot. He's 6'2.5". You know, Caleb Plant is 6'1". The Durrells aren't small. You know, James DeGale, if he comes back and get healthy, he ain't small. You know, so it's a difficult division right now. It's a talented division. You know, I think, you know, I know what's the one thing I'm going to end on before I get into these questions. The cruiserweight division, I'm going to talk about that for a minute. They should wish to have the jump in stardom that the super middleweight had over the years. You know, he probably do be beating Benavidez probably be beating the brakes off him, beating the brakes off Triple G for real though. You know, Abel Sanchez loves David Benavidez, swears by him. But super middleweight was the same as cruiserweight. Ain't nobody in America care about super middleweight for real. You had Roy, James Toney. You had those guys. Bernard started off there, moved down to closed down to 160. But it wasn't hot. It wasn't hot. One of the guys, two fights that really, my teenage years really kind of had me gravitate towards the super middleweight division. And I love this guy. He was involved in both of them. Was Showtime, Joe Calzaghe versus Jeff Lacey. I mean, if I didn't love boxing at that point, if I didn't love it after that fight, I wouldn't have never loved boxing. I already love boxing though. But if you didn't love boxing after that fight, I mean, you might as well just don't even watch no more because, that was an ass whooping. I still watch that fight just to see that ass whooping. Every time I watch Jeff Lacey and Joe Calzaghe, I just think the ass whooping is worse and worse every time. I mean, Calzaghe was bad. I don't care what these Americans say. I rock with him. I rock with Joe Calzaghe. His dad read a boxing book, okay? His dad read a boxing book and taught his son based off a boxing book that he read. His dad was a jazz musician or something like that. He beat Calzaghe, and the other one was Miguel Kessler versus Joe Calzaghe. That was a good fight. That was on HBO. I was in senior year of high school or something like that. I watched that fight and I enjoyed it. I waited for that fight, got snacks, and it delivered. It was an excellent fight. But I'm gonna get to these questions and we're gonna get up out of here. Like something to eat. I'm gonna go from the top. Off top, this is I can't read his name. This dude, he from the shot though. CJ, off topic, what's your take on Yard? Is he real or fake? I like the kid. You be on your job. I like Yard. I fuck with him. I didn't catch his last fight though, but the old girl, Ashley's Corner. Y'all go subscribe to her. I think it's ASHLEE Corner with a K. I think I'm chopping her up with her about it. She said that he took some shots and the dude he pulled the fight was a big guy. I'm going to tell you this about Anthony Yard before I get these go back up. Take your time. I think for Anthony Yard, if they really want to make a move right now, I think Frank Warren should actually call HBO and get the boys, well, eventually the boys, but get Yard on HBO. I mean, get him a fight. Let Joe Smith Jr. come back, get a fight or two in, and maybe by the end of the year or the top of next year, I like Anthony Yard versus Joe Smith Jr. On the route to Anthony Yard being ready for a title. But Anthony Yard, it's nothing that I see wrong with him. It's just the fact that he didn't have that experience. So if somebody's able to hurt Anthony Yard and that's something they not practicing in the gym or preparing for in the gym, cuts over his eyes, fighting with maybe fake blood or an eye patch over his eye. If that's something they not practicing now, they doing themselves a disservice. They have to make up for that lack of experience. You see what I'm saying? And I think he, especially Eubanks Jr., need to come over to America and move to Vegas and get that sparring. That sparring in the UK, no offense. It's just that one style most of the time. You come to the United States in Vegas, you getting all type of sparring. And I think he needs to step his sparring up. And if he ain't going to do that, he needs to be practicing, basically doing what Tim Bradley did. Not in the fight, though. Tim Bradley wanted to go run like 10, 15 miles before a fight. Professional fight, just to see if he can win a fight and challenge himself. And I think Yard needs to do something like that, with practice being very, very exhausted and then trying to fight some rounds being exhausted. It's not the talent with Yard that have a problem. It's the experience and being able to hold and deal with adversity. That's the only issue he gonna have to come up with. All right, we're gonna start here. I thought Peter would win. Also, Money Brown, Canelo, Triple G, Saunders. Yeah. We talk about I like that one. He answered that one. Somebody had a question. I thought I had a question about Rickendall. Let me see. I thought I seen a question about Rickendall. Hold on. I'm going to go up further. I thought one of y'all had a question about Rickendall. Maybe I ain't got my glasses on. Apologize. We're going to keep going down. B-Hop, Kovalev, and Ward all duck Stevenson. I addressed that. Kovalev did pull out of negotiations the second time with Stevenson. Because he had an obligation to fight on HBO, and he couldn't fight on Showtime, so HBO told him to pull out. Andre Ward, I'm going to tell you what happened with Andre Ward and Stevenson. Basically, James Prince, Jay-Z, they don't mix with Al Heyman and Al Heyman, basically. They don't mix with them because, obviously, Al Heyman was named in a lawsuit against Beyonce a long time ago. And basically, when Floyd left James Prince, Al Heyman took Floyd to the next level. And Floyd and Al is like right and left hand man, so I didn't see that happening. And also, Andre Ward wasn't going to be able to jip Adonis Stevenson for the money. Remember, he said the money wasn't there because he wasn't about to get no $7 million fighting Stevenson and Stevenson getting peanuts like Kovalev did. So he couldn't do that. PBC is keeping boxing around alive. Danny Rios, Alexander Ortiz, Mikey Lipinets, Wilder. Yeah. I mean, I ain't giving the fights that I really want to see. Just give me Earl and Keith. That's what I want to see. But you're right. You know, they fight dates is crazy in the first half of the year. With these fighters ducking Earl Spence, a lot of people forgetting how great these fights they got coming. This year is. So, welterweight division is so talented, but it's an epic fail right now. And that's just really blinding people about Premier Boxing Champions. But they are doing their thing. I mean, they're the only network that's delivering like that. And that's sad. Stevenson would gladly fight Kovalev, but Kovalev ducks the man. And I don't know. I mean, didn't Stevenson, the one that signed with HBO, was with HBO, and then was time to sign to fight Kovalev, he ran the Showtime. So people missing that. You know, he ducked first. I mean, does Stevenson go to the body though? I mean, come on. 7-8 made Billy Joe Saunders get on his shit. 7-8 touched his soul. Yeah, calling him Billy Ho Saunders. Yeah, that was one of the most epic nicknames out there. Andrade is not a killer, and I don't think he believes he can beat the best. I think that as well. It's a mental thing with them. Oh, there you go. What you think next for Rigo? I like to see Rigo get a tune-up at go back to bantamweight. I like to see him try to do a catchweight with Anuiwa or Ryan Burnett. Anuiwa is one division under him. It's like 115 or 116 or something like that. Kovalev, in super bantamweight is like 122. I said I want to see a tune-up by Rigondeaux. Anuiwa capture a belt at the division he at, and I want to see Rigondeaux versus Anuiwa. That's what I want to see next for Rigondeaux. I know somebody had a Rigondeaux question. What tier Eubanks in if he moved down? The tier I ain't talk about. The bums of the rest. The bums. I mean, he in the same tier as Curtis Stevens and Alantez Fox. He in that motherfucking groove right now. What up though, Ty? Ty Foster in the building. Cruiserweight needs more respect. They about to be undisputed up there. Oh no, they not about to be undisputed. I don't think. I think it's a belt missing out of there. But yeah, they could. But if Gasby win, Gasby going to heavyweight. And Gasby, I like him. I liked him on tape. But I was just an idiot and picked the other guy. The fight doctor, KO doctor. Floyd Gotti introduced me to Ford. Yeah, that was a nasty fight. That was an ass whooping. I said, what you think next for Rigo? Yeah, I just answered that. What is next? What I like to see him do next, I told you guys I like to see him fight Anuiwa to catch weight after tune-up. And Anuiwa capture a belt where he at. But honestly, it ain't nothing that he can do. He in a lose-lose situation. He should have signed with Al a long time ago, to be truthful. But he didn't sign with Al Heyman. Him and Gamboa is paying the piper financially, and it's no good financial fights for him. Obviously, if he moves up to 26, they don't fight each other. Gary Russell's the boogeyman. It's not room enough for Rigondeaux to be a boogeyman at 126. Gary Russell the boogeyman, but he ain't active. Rigondeaux will be a boogeyman, but he ain't active. Santa Cruz, he ain't fighting nobody. His daddy don't want him to fight nobody. Carl Frampton just as bitch made. He don't want to fight nobody. He waiting on Santa Cruz. That ain't gonna happen. Lee Selby, I don't know what he doing. He's very, very talented. He just in neutral. Shit, man. They just as bad as the welterweight division. Yeah, Rigondeaux versus the Monster. That's a good fight. No belt missing in cruiserweight. They stripped the guy. Oh yeah, they did make him super. Yeah, I forgot they stripped my man's. Yeah, well they just I guess put him in intern championship. Yeah, my man's had already beat him though. That's probably why they did it, because Gassy already beat that guy. I watched that fight, the El Libidov fight. You think Manny should fight Lomachenko or Bud? I hope he retires. Yeah, he should have been retired. He should have just got to fight Alvarado, go out on top, and just leave. And if he wants to continue to fight, if it's a financial thing, and I'm going to end on this to answer the last question. If it's financial for Manny Pacquiao, I'll do a European tour. I'll do like 6 months, 10, 15 fights, or whatever it may be. They'll pay to see Pacquiao over there, top dollar. Every fight he probably can collect almost $10 million. And if he does like a 10-fight deal, a fight over there, and just fighting their best domestic fighters and doing shows and stuff of that nature and pop-ups, he can very well make $100 million. He can make more money doing that than fucking with Bob Arum fighting Alvarado. Then if you want to make some more money, he go to Asia, and fight the world's best. Fight their best fighters. Clean up. He go to Australia, do it again, fight their worlds. But if they was thinking though, Michael Collins, they don't want him to be great financially. They always want Manny Pacquiao to need Collins and Bob Arum and the rest of them snakes. Everybody was calling Alex Ariza a snake, but we know who the real snake's in. Who wins between Money Brown versus Mayweather? I got Money Brown, man. Money Brown. Fuck Floyd Mayweather. Keep calling everybody out on your Duck Chronicles. Keep your foot on it. Oh yeah, for sure. I ain't been doing them like I was supposed to. But yeah, is J-Rock ducking Nathaniel Gallimore? Absolutely. I mean, but I can't say that because Nathaniel said they're supposed to fight next, but they can't find a fight card for it to go on. It was supposed to be the co-feature to Mikey and Lipinets, but then, you know, Crawford vacated the WBA belt. Now Rancis and that Relic guy, they gonna fight again. So they can't find a card for it to go on. So, you know, Nathaniel did say that. He said J-Rock said he would be, you know, he would have fought, he was supposed to fight him when he fought Ishe Smith. Ishe Smith paid more. Obviously, TMT, Money Team, Mayweather, they paid more. And now they just waiting on the venue. I don't know where it stands. Maybe I could reach out and ask him or something like that. No, I won't be no promoter. Hell no. I'm gonna be out there promoting like Bob Arum and shit, keeping shit in house like a motherfucker. Hell yeah, it's easy. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this. Let me end on this. It's easy to predetermine or can visualize using somebody else's fucking assets and money. And when it's your own money, yeah, you making Crawford versus Horn, you making Crawford versus Benavidez, you making Crawford versus Butterbean Jr. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's his money. They gonna protect their asset. J-Rock should be on the next episode of the Chronicle. Hey, you gotta give him a chance though. He said he will fight Nathaniel. Nathaniel Gallimore said that he will fight him. They looking for a fight for it to fall on fight card. And that's the last time I heard. I'm gonna try to reach out to Nathaniel, see what he say. You know, I'm pretty sure he needs to give an interview with. I'm gonna reach out to him, man. Maybe me and Moni can interview Nathaniel Gallimore. I'm gonna try to line that up. See if he can hop on and we can do an interview with Nathaniel. Pretty sure he a cool guy. But at the end of the day, we out. I'm gonna drop a video next. As soon as this process shouldn't be that long. Thanks for everybody for the love, sharing, subscribing, liking, disliking, all that. Yeah, I like J-Rock. He worked his way on up, but we out.